Hello lovelies, Carlin Fisher here. In today's Spinning Mind Sculpting video, we're going to talk about fear of success. So I'm sure all of you have heard fear of failure, fear of failure. Fear of failure can be your greatest driver. It can really put you into that cortisol, adrenaline mode where you're fighting for your life, your theoretical life, because you're afraid of that thing. What people don't teach you about is you can actually be afraid of your own success. And oftentimes that's a secondary thing. Because you know how sometimes you're like, how could I possibly do that? I want to succeed. I want to be good at this. I've been failing at this for so long, or hasn't been going my way for so long, that I just want this thing over here. But what you need to understand is that's just that instant belief. So what I mean by this is your fear of success, you aren't actually afraid to succeed. You're afraid of what's underneath that succeeding, about what that means. So you can be afraid of lots of different things. One, your nervous system might not be calibrated for that upper limit. Two, you can have beliefs about what it means to be successful, or what it means if you lose that, or about like the different work mentalities you'll have around that. For example, if you do trading, you might be not meaning to, but you sabotage your trade. If you do day trading, you calibrate your nervous system, and then you're like, damn it, I keep going in and I'm not supposed to. And you kind of keep going in this little loop. Sometimes what is happening is you are sabotaging it, but part of you is actually like relieved, part of your nervous system and your mind, because maybe you've lost that money before, or maybe something happened to you in that state before. Because if you don't have it, or you've never had it, you can't lose it. And that's just how your mind works. But it's like that catch-22 thing. So if you look at that and you understand that it's not that you're afraid to have that money, you're afraid of what it's going to feel like if it gets taken away. And if you've been in a point at a pain point, most of your pain points are like red alerts on your brain. And it is like, do not come near this or this will hurt. So it will always be like, ooh, this one's better because it'll hurt less. Ooh, this one's better, it'll hurt less. And that's where you talk about like your transformation shift point. And this transformation shift point is where the pain of not doing anything outweighs the pain of you doing your little dance around it. So you go for it. That's sometimes what the shift is. And that's why it's so important to understand where you're self-sabotaging, because sometimes it's not exactly what you think, and sometimes it's just like that pivotal shift around it, and that pivotal shift around it is like the big shift that helps you get what you want. Because if you, part of you is like afraid of the success happens, then what happens is you're like going against yourself, and you're this like nervous system little loop, and you're secretly being like, what the hell, I want this thing, why aren't I getting it, or why does it seem like I don't? Because part of you, there's some sort of aspect where your mind doesn't feel that safety and consistency to get it, so it's rewiring that part of you so you can have it. I had this at one point just around my program. It was like having the boundaries I needed around my house, because as I kind of go deeper and deeper, one of my promises is I can't sacrifice myself along this journey. I already did that. I can't do that again. So one of my boundaries was, okay, you can't do that for certain clients. But then you kind of ask yourself, you're like, why do I not want this one? Why, even though I'm like, yeah, great, I got a new client. Why is some secret part of me like, no, what's going on? It's some part of you is like making sure that you know not to sabotage yourself in the process, or not to relive that state, because it wants to avoid that feeling. So it's creating a system and a framework that feels safe, so you can embrace and you can go forward with what you want most, and then you don't have that fear of succeeding in the back of your mind. So leave you that to think about. We'll chat soon.